Over the last 2 years, the SSTU has been working with parent groups, principals associations and teacher unions across the nation to ensure that the voice of public schools has been fully and clearly represented in the review of federal schools funding. We're now on the eve of the release of the Gonski Review report to the federal government. Tuesday the 15th of November has been called as a National Day of Action. Teachers, school leaders, parents and supporters of public education are asked to join an email campaign to provide Gonski and the Minister for Education, Mr Garrett, with a final reminder of the need to introduce a new and fairer schools funding model. The current model is essentially 30 years old. It is not only inadequate, but along with the application of funding maintained approaches, is perpetuating a scheme which is disadvantaging the majority of children, those who attend the thousands of public schools across the nation. This new funding model must deliver a fair share to public schools. It must recognise the fundamental obligation of governments to ensure public schools are the foundation of educational opportunity in Australia and must be funded to give our kids access to a quality education. Public schools carry the heaviest responsibility in our community for educating students with disadvantage. Public schools are often the only schools in many communities across the country. The quality of educational provision in our public schools has to be the measure of this nation's commitment to education. As Henry Parkes said at the opening of a public school in Sydney over 140 years ago, a public school system in any country is an essential part of its institutions in the large sense of politics. It is part of the policy of the country. It is part of the intention and action of the government, part of the very life of constituted authority. It is absolutely essential that in coming up with a new model, the Gonski Review Group recommends changes which will draw a fair share of funds into public schools, that the ability of public schools to deliver a quality education will be the bedrock of this new system. We do not want to be seen in the minds and hearts of politicians and the community as simply a safety net system, as Mr Howard said when he was Prime Minister. Many communities across our nation are served by only one school, a public school. No child should go to a public school and have to expect less than a fair chance. We ask you to take a simple step in supporting this campaign by going to www.forourfuture.org.au and sending your email to Gonski, Garrett and your local federal MP. Also encourage other colleagues to do so as well. Thank you.